This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined down here at the Matchroom Gym today. Demsey McKean. When I was organising this, I knew I was turning up. I didn't know who was going to be here. The whole gym's here. You were one of them that I wanted to speak to and catch up with. I think our first time on an interview. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Just finished a nice big training session and just gearing up for the week ahead, but feeling good.
Well, first things first, linking up with Tony Sims down here in Essex. How have you found it? We've obviously been speaking a little bit off camera this morning. Not so much a culture shock as such, but obviously different change of scenery. Are you minding it? Are you enjoying life as a man training out of Essex?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's good, you know. I enjoy it, and so this phone's going off a little bit there. Yeah, but I enjoy it, you know. Tony's a great trainer, and Essex is a nice area, you know. The grass is green and the air's nice and clear out this way, so a lot better than living in London, that's for sure. But, you know, this is kind of where I grew up, a little bit more rural. So, yeah, I'm loving it out here. It's a great stable of fighters, and what can't you love?
I want to talk about the stable of fighters that you've got surrounded you. I mean, in the best hands, obviously, you're with Matchroom Boxing, you've got Tony Sims as your head coach, you've got everyone that's in here around you, you know, whether we look at George and Maisie, as we've been speaking about, and then even like Liam, who wants to train in here, to then looking at Joe Caldina, Felix Cash, Connor, all the people that are in the gym, full of talent, full of experience, and the best people that you could train around.
Exactly, you said it right there, you know, like I've said in the past, I call it the all-star cast. You know, these guys are on the verge of some big fights here, you know. Everyone, like Joe Caldina's about to contest for his world title that they stripped off him. You know, Felix Cash on the verge of European. Conor Ben's about to come back into a massive fight and clear his name. And obviously I've been thrown in the mix for some potential big fights too. So, you know, it's a great group of guys here. And, you know, to be able to rub shoulders with all these guys, makes you get that little bit extra edge in training, you know, push that a little bit harder. We're all very competitive. So when it comes to sprint days and conditioning days, you know, the competition's always there too. So, yeah, I really do love it over here, and great group of guys as well.
Picking up sort of on your story, I was quite interested when we were just speaking over there about it, how you sort of, I think you had your first fight at 18 and that was MMA, and then obviously took a professional fight on one day's notice, which I'll let you explain, but how did you sort of first lace up the gloves and get into the sport? Because it is a bit of a strange story.
Yeah, well, I was actually never a fan of boxing whatsoever. You know, I first got into mixed martial arts when I was about 18, 19 years old. I think I saw a UFC fight on TV one time. I thought, what's this crazy sport these guys are doing? Then it was only a few days later, I seen an advertisement for MMA training, and I went there and enjoyed my first session, and I fell in love with it. I had my first fight about 8 months after, and yeah, I fought when I was 19. I had the 4 MMA fights, the 4 Muay Thai fights, and a professional boxing fight come about when I was about 24 on the Malik Scott and Alex Leopai card in Brisbane. And, you know, that was like on a day's notice. And what
was that experience like? Sorry to butt in.
Yeah, that was good. It was good. Well, it's like I wasn't, you know, like at the time I was like, yeah, I'm competitive, I want to win, but boxing wasn't a sport I wanted to compete in. So I was like, you know, I'll just do it for the hell of it. Had an MMA fight coming up, and that fell through. And you know, I done quite well in that boxing fight, and, you know, I went straight back to MMA. I didn't have any intention of following through with the boxing, but 6 months later they offered me another boxing fight, and I took that and I won that. And then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna stick with this. You know, I don't have to worry about guys trying to take me down to the ground and pound my face in. So I think it was a bit more suited to the boxing game, and here we are 8 years later and top 10 in the world, and, you know, on the fringe of some massive fights. So it's quite amazing how things do kind of, you know, plan out.
Aussie boxing's one that's sort of mad. It's taken the world by storm in the last couple of years. I mean, just first hand for you, growing up in Australia, is boxing massive over there? And now do you feel like it's certainly getting more attraction now with Matchroom launching in Australia, and some of the talent coming out of Australia? You yourself, how have you found it all? And it's definitely evolving and turning a new page?
Yeah, it has. Like, I think you said yourself, like in the last couple of years, it's really started to kind of skyrocket. You know, we've got multiple world champs, you know, in Ebony Bridges and Sugar Neeks, IBF champion. I think she might even be defending a title soon too. And then we got Tim Tszyu coming up for the undisputed titles as well, massive opportunity. And my stablemate Liam Paro, number 1 in the for the junior lightweights in the world, and myself top 10. We got a lot of world rated guys and a lot of guys on the fringe of some big fights, so it is exciting times for Aussie boxing. And, you know, now there's a lot more promoters starting to come through in Australia, and a lot more coverage, a lot more guys. George Cambos is another one. How could I miss him? You know, former undisputed world champ. You know, so a lot of these guys are paving the way, and, you know, and I think it starts with getting overseas, getting those training camps in, developing a lot more as well, and then being able to take those bigger fights. You've got to kind of branch out outside of Australia, and take those opportunities and step outside your comfort zone. But mate, we're in a really good place at the moment, and it's very exciting.
What is next for you, Dempsey? Obviously, we spoke off camera, but Anthony Joshua's the name that's been thrown about. Eddie toyed with the idea in an interview. Have you given it much thought?
Given it a lot of thought. Definitely, how could you not? It's been the talk of the town at the moment. It's a bit of a hot topic, It's obviously a fight that I'd love to take any day of the week. It's a big opportunity fight, big name fight, and does wonders for my career to come through with a win. It's obviously a hard fight. He's a great fighter and a great champion in AJ, and a win there can skyrocket me straight to a world title fight straight away, not to mention career biggest payday and potential big fights after. So it's a win-win fight for myself. But the only thing that's kind of started to fizzle out a little bit, being the whole Southpaw thing, story of my life. It's nothing I'm not used to, he doesn't want to fight a Southpaw, coming off a couple losses to a Southpaw, which is it's devastating. It's quite sad. These guys don't like to fight certain fighters due to their stance. The Whyte fight, he pulled out, didn't want to follow through with the contract due to me being a Southpaw, and mate, it's definitely wouldn't be happening in the old days. That's for sure, mate. Times have changed.
Well, let's sort of pick up on that a little bit, because okay, it may not be Anthony Joshua, or it still may be, who knows, but for you now, I think, as we've said, you're top 10 ranked now in the governing bodies. It's getting yourself and sort of cementing yourself as a sort of world level fighter for you. If you're throwing a Derek Chisora, a Dillian Whyte, an Anthony Joshua, an Otto Wilde, and someone in that sort of area, you take that in a heartbeat, I imagine.
I would, we've been on the fringes and big fights. And like I said, it's hard to land these big fights, and then when the big names don't want to fight you as well. So, people can criticise me saying, trying to take a big name, or I haven't had that, the kind of big name on my resume. But mate, I've been sitting
trying to get it,
trying to get it, mate. I'm trying to land that big fight, but it's just not happening. It's just slipping through the fingertips every time. So, until I do get the big name, and then I get the respect that I deserve in the heavyweight division, then it's going to be exciting times, and then hopefully I'll put myself in a position where these guys can't, pull out of these fights or say no to me as well. So obviously that's the goal there, but until we get the big name fight, and hopefully Eddie can come through with the goods sometime soon, because I'm itching to get back in there.
You're 32, and by no means is that sort of getting on, especially in the heavyweight division, where guys can almost go until they're 40. But I suppose on a personal level, it would be lying if you didn't want to cement your family's future and legacy, etc. Is there a sort of I suppose you're even more itching in terms of, just like you say, a career payday as well. You want to stable your family's future, don't you, in doing this as well? It's a lifestyle as well.
It is, mate. Don't get me wrong. I love this sport as well, and people can say it's not about the money, but who else works for free, mate? I've given my life, a good portion of my life, to combat sports, busting my ass twice a day, taking punishment, getting beat up and beating people up as well, put my body through the mincer, and, we put a lot on the line, us boxers. We don't get the credit that we deserve. We put our health on the line, we put our lives on the line every time we step in that ring, and, we deserve to be paid, and I would love it if every boxer, that put the heart and soul into it, got career big paydays as well to close out their careers, because in the end that's what we're doing. We're trying to support our family. We need to live. We want to live comfortably, and we want to live good. So, and with big career paydays comes big fights, and big fights comes legacy fights and world title fights, and it all comes together, mate. So, that's it. So,
Dempsey, moving forward, if and when, hopefully, when you get these big fights, do you believe now it is your opportunity to go out there and, like you say, people may criticise your resume because you haven't got that big name, but now you need that big name to show just your level, you believe?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've said it before, people write myself off, and the likes of these kind of fighters that are on the fringe of the big fights, and look at Jermaine Franklin, what he done to Dillian Whyte. Super close fight, possibly could have even got the nod there as well, and people were writing him off beforehand and slagging him out, and now I feel
like you need to almost be an opponent like that to show just how good you are.
Exactly. Well, I'm always going to be kind of used as the opponent, aren't I? With my record and the ranking and whatnot. So until I do get that name and then be able to showcase it. Otto Wallen done the same thing to Tyson Fury as well. Everyone was criticising him, put in a really good performance. Now he's quite a household name. Jermaine Franklin done a big upset. Now he's got the love of the people again. So it is a vicious cycle here in the boxing world.
Crazy sport.
It's a crazy sport, mate. It is, but I'm eager, and they can criticise all they want because I know what I'm capable of.
Dempsey, just lastly from me, I suppose on the heavyweight scene as a whole, a lot of talk at the minute revolving around Fury Usyk, and I suppose the most pressing fight in the heavyweight division today, I believe the victor will be the first undisputed champion in the four-belt era. If we do see the fight happening, how do you see it going? Usyk, someone whose amateur pedigree is absolutely sensational. Tyson Fury, someone who's just so big, he can move, he can punch. Really both in their primes. How do you see that sort of fight going?
The fight's got to happen. You know, this is probably the closest we've had for an opportunity like this, and fingers crossed it does come through. But I think it will, and I think Fury's probably too skillful. So for someone like Usyk, you know, Usyk's quite slick, good mover, but I think if someone can kind of combat that, who's a good mover as well, like in Fury, long jab, big guy, big heavy guy. I can't see Usyk winning. He's definitely not going to knock out Fury. You know, if Buddy Wilder couldn't. So I think Fury wins on points. You know, I don't think he stops him either. I think it's going to be go to the points. I don't think it's going to be the most entertaining fight either. It's going to be quite awkward, standoffish, and
probably one for the hardcores.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be watched though, and you know, all the best to both gentlemen.
Look, Dempsey, thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure just chatting away with you. Like I say, coming to here, and we never spoke before, but obviously thank you for having me here, and really enjoyed myself. A message to the people moving forward, hopefully we get to see Demsey McKean out against the best and showing just what your level is.
Definitely. Stay tuned. Hopefully have a big fight. I've been waiting patiently. Hopefully you guys can be a bit more patient, and can't wait to showcase some skills, and hopefully see you guys there or tune in. Thank you.
Top man, thank you for speaking to us at Boxing Social.